Hello, dear friends. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We have come again with another information. We move again. Happy New Year. I will be saying Happy New Year until January goes by. Okay, my people. Now, if government is fighting you, it is not an easy thing. Do you know this government of lies that we have in this Nigeria? They said a lot of things against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to the Finnish government. They say he is the problem of Southeast. They say he is killing his people. They say he's the one kidnapping. They leverage a lot of fabrications against him. And that is why you've not heard from Simon Ekpa again. You've not heard from him. Heap and heap of lies against him. Now, since that December up till now, that he has not spoken, what is going on? Who are now the people killing the Biafran army? Who are now the people kidnapping Biafran people? Who are now the people, even there's a man that they released, what they told that man is, okay, you people say you will fight Fulani. Now we have come. We are now in the bushes. And we will never go out. We will be killing Igbos one after the other until there will be no man standing. Is it Simon Ekpa that is saying that? People are not reasoning. Anyway, we don't have to keep quiet. That is even why some of us are still here. Because when they make gonu eburu gega fireman nage. So we have to be the voice of the face of agitators. When Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was there, we happened to be his voice in every corner. And we must do that for Obatobie. We must do that for even Dr. Ngozi Orabueze. Yes. Just give us something to say. We will say it and we'll push it in our own strength, by our own corner, at our own pace, in our own, anybody we know, we push it so that people will hear us before we are killed. You cannot kill us in silence. You cannot kill Igbos in silence. You can't stop Biafran from coming in silence. No! And I want you to listen to this interview that they conducted, trying to put words in the mouth of our brother, but thank God, everybody from Biafra land, almost everybody has sense and wisdom. I want you to listen to this interview. I'll be right back.
Of the Finnish president, Alexander Stubb. He must hear this one. I am coming on two perspectives. The first perspective, for those who say Simon Ekpa is the problem, those who said that Simon Ekpa was the end-all and be-all of all the problems, the atrocities, the killing in the so-called Southeast, a region of Biafra. Today, I want you to hear from the stakeholders, those who are of high repute. Hear them speak about the situations in the Southeast. You will hear from the interviewer who was trying to put words in the mouth of this gentleman. But we thank God, this man with his supreme wisdom, he was able to curtail the interviewer and said, give me the chance to present my own analysis based on my own assumptions. You will hear it. On the other aspect, I want us to draw the president of Finland, Alexander Stubb. He must see what the Nigerian government is doing to the military of Biafrans. Some of the Igbos and some of the Yorubas and the Middle Belt. Some of the Biafrans that chose to join the Nigerian military. I want you to hear what they did to them when they were sent to go and fight the so-called Boko Haram, but they were not given the ammunitions to support themselves. At the end, because we are men of pride, men of valor, they came out and said, you have not given us the equipment to match the firepowers of Boko Haram, ISIS, ISWAP, and the rest of them. Instead, the Nigerian government, they came up with a military marshal and they sentenced all those men to death. I repeat, not giving them the firepower to match that of the so-called terrorists, the enemies who were brought into Nigeria. Now you know that they were brought into Nigeria to do a job. That is why they were not given the Christian so-called soldiers. The Nigerian Christian soldiers sent to go and fight Boko Haram. This must marinate in the mind of the Finnish president. Dear Alexander Stubb, what you will see today will blow your mind. That some Christian soldiers sent to the Islamic area of Nigeria to go and, confront the so-called Boko Haram, ISIS, ISWAP, Lukarao, and the rest of them. When they went there, they didn't give them enough ammunition to match the firepowers of Boko Haram. These soldiers, being men of pride, men who left their family and children, their spouses back home, they demanded, from the artilleries, what they have in the artilleries, give us the right equipment, give us the right machineries to fight the enemy. The Nigerian military government, they refused because they didn't want them to have a one-up over Boko Haram. They never wanted them to win the war against Boko Haram. Instead, they refused to give them the ammunitions to fight and defend themselves. So when these men chose not to go to the battleground without, the proper gear, they decided to put them and said they will go and meet their maker. They were sentenced to death, firing squad. But we thank God that one of the highly revered, legal men in America and also in Nigeria, the one they call Femi Falana, he did a good job by coming out to speak, and he was able to fight for so many years. At the end, these men were given 10 years in jail. Think about that. 10 years in jail for refusing to go and kill yourself in the battleground. This is what they do to the Christian soldiers who choose to join the Nigerian military. Alexander Stubb, you must lend me your ears. I will present to you what is happening in Nigeria. They told you Simon Ekpa was the problem in the so-called Southeast. They said Simon Ekpa was the killer of his people in the Southeast. Today, you must listen to the man, a man who is highly revered, who has spoken out, who has spoken truth to power. Listen to the analysis of this gentleman you're about to hear, where he will tell you exactly who are responsible for the mayhem, the atrocities, the killings, the genocide happening in the Southeast. Mr. Alexander Stubb, lend me your ears as I start this presentation. Thank you.
Our attention is once again drawn to the security situation that has left many lives ending in a tragically gory state in the Southeast region. As the situation goes from what you could call bad to worse, making the unarmed civilian an endangered species in his daily life, the Nigerian military has been trying to forestall this ugly recurrence, while the regional security threat has spread its roots into widespread criminal activities and violence. I'm delighted to have the former PDP governorship candidate in 2021, currently a Labour Party stalwart, an immediate past president and chief executive officer of the Transco Group, Val Ozigbo. He joins us on Arise Prime Time. Glad to have you join me.
Thanks so much, MD.
Yeah, well done. Just like we talked about there, let's go to straight to the fact that Simon Ekpa has been arrested. And will this stop insecurity in the Southeast? What do you think? Also, I'm saying the emergence of a new female leader, a female, has occurred. So what do you think? Will this stop insecurity?
Hold it there, Mr. Man. He came with a narrative. He was trying to put words into the mouth of this man. He said Simon Ekpa has been arrested. Will this stop the so-called insecurity in the Southeast? Also, a woman has now been made the leader of the movement. What do you think about it? This is how you feed, your analyst words to embellish on. But we thank God the guy who responded. His name is Valentine Ozigbo. I was so glad the way he responded. I will take it back. Listen to the question and see the way the guy responded. He was being fair and balanced in his analysis. This all I beg those from the zoo to do. When you are called upon to analyze things, be fair. Be fair in your analysis. Let's take it back. Listen to the question and see the way he broke it down. Let's take it back. No. We must take it back.
Let's go to
listen
straight to the fact that Simon Ekpa has been arrested. And will this stop insecurity in the southeast? What do you think? Also, I'm saying the emergence of a new female leader, a female,
Listen.
has occurred. So, what do you think? Will this stop the insecurity we're experiencing in the southeast?
To be honest, I think for me, the place I want to start off this conversation is to try to paint a picture of how terrible things are
In
in
the
the
southeast.
southeast.
God bless this man. He said, no, with all due respect, the place he would like to start from is to paint a picture of how terrible things are in the southeast. That's how you start your own analysis. Don't allow them to feed, to spoon feed you the lies and get you in an entrapment. He said, no, with all due respect, allow me to come with my own analysis to paint a picture. Look at it in a holistic way. Paint a picture of what is really happening in the southeast. That tells you this man understands the problem in the southeast. It means this man is not foolish enough to assume that one man enjoying his life, living the best of life, living his life in a developed country in Finland can be responsible for the nonsense happening in the southeast. Listen to his own analysis. How he started. For the last time, I will interrupt, then I'll stop the interruption. Listen to how he started. Respect to this man, Valentine Ozigbo. Respect to this man, this great man. I respect you. I appreciate you. Listen to the way he started the analysis. Very, very important. Listen to the way he started his analysis. Let's go.
Let's go to straight to the fact that Simon Epa has been arrested. And will this stop insecurity in the southeast? What do you think? So I'm saying the emergence of a new female leader, a female, has occurred. So what do you think? Will this stop the insecurity we're experiencing in the southeast?
To be honest, I think for me, the place I want to start off this conversation is to try to paint a picture of how terrible things are
In
in
the
the
southeast.
southeast.
Listen.
I was reading a report recently by a group of NGOs and authored by one Emeka Umeagbalasi and his colleagues, and they documented a lot of atrocities that have happened in the entire southeast, where in their reckoning, over 65,000 people had been victims of kidnapping and what have you, and over 32,000 deaths from different, whether state actors and non-state actors. And all of these things tell you the level of deterioration we've suffered. And what is saddening is what has happened even in recent time, particularly in my own dear state, Anambra, where
Anambra State.
nobody's spared. Archbishops are not spared. House of Assembly members not spared. Reverend fathers, reverend sisters, lawyers, nobody's spared. This is just a matter of who's going to be the next victim. And when this happens, there is not even any hope in sight, no rescue in sight. It's just when the criminals decide to leave you off, if they decide to murder you or sell your body parts, it's their decision. And they do this unchecked. There's no threat of, we're going to be arrested, nothing like that. They can spend a whole 30 minutes, 1 hour in an incident, and this is how bad it's become. And so when we're now going to go into the root cause of this, I don't think it's appropriate to just, if you want to make it fun, go into the root cause of this.
Listen.
I don't think it's appropriate to just coalesce it into IPOB activities, because that's what your question is tending to suggest.
Hold it there. When it comes into going into this, he doesn't think it makes sense to corner it towards the IPOB activities, because that is what the question of the interviewer suggests. He's here to paint a picture, a full spectrum of what is going on in the Southeast. This video must get to Alexander Stubb. the president of Finland. To you, I say, Valkomen, tack så mycket. To those from the Scandinavian world, I am well versed. I speak so many languages. To Alexander Stubb, I say, Valkomen, you are welcome. Welcome. Step in and listen to the exact information. You want to know what's happening in the Southeast? Mind you, Southeast is a region in Biafran. Listen to what one of the experts, those that have the technical know-how, the ability to reason, to paint a picture of what is exactly happening and who are the stakeholders responsible for the situations happening in the Southeast. Alexander Stubb, it is not your citizen, Simon Ekpa, responsible. Do not punish a Finnish citizen for no reason. Listen to those, the who is who from Biafra land. Break it down. Let's continue.
Simon Ekpa will stop as if...
Take it back. Listen.
To suggest. Rest of Simon Ekpa will stop as if that's the only... No. Let's go deep into what actually are the root causes of this issue.
Okay.
In my opinion, again, it's just when you have poor leadership, because even within the same Southeast, some states are better than some. Anambra is seen as the worst today. Enugu is relatively better. Abia is better. What are they doing differently? It's still the same. And guess what? Sam Ekpa is not even from Anambra State.
Listen.
Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is not even from Anambra State. Why is Anambra the worst? It boils down to issue of leadership. Now, let's talk about the IPOB. I believe that agitation actually is not a wrong thing in itself. Somebody saying, this is what I want, it's not a wrong thing. How you go about it could be wrong. And how also the government treats it could be wrong. And that's what we...
Hold it there. Thank you very much. First of all, he just said an agitation is not a wrong thing to do. If you want to agitate for something, it's not a wrong thing to do. What matters is how you go about it. And also how the government goes about responding to the reason why you are agitating. Alexander Stubb, I want you to go and do your history. Do a research on what happened from 2012 when our leader Nnamdi Kanu came up with the organization IPOB, and what happened, what transpired in 2015 when a Fulani man was made president of Nigeria. The man they call Muhammadu Buhari. Do your research. I'm giving you an assignment to do your research. What happened in 2015? What happened in 2017? And also in the ultimate analysis, what happened or what transpired in Kenya in the month of June 2021. Your answers will bring you to the judgment for you to know that agitation is not a problem. The way we went about it was peaceful. It was the caliphate, those who were planning to Islamize Nigeria. They were the one that came with a heavy hand. They were heavy-handed because their intention was to Islamize Nigeria, and they saw the Biafrans as the stumbling block. Alexander Stubb, do your research, then continue with this video. Let's go there. Listen.
I'm one of those who have called for release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. I don't think the continued detention, incarceration, and all of this is helping matters. And quite frankly, I don't know Simon Ekpa. We've seen some of the videos he does, and whether he changes, replaces, I think is irrelevant to what we're talking about. Because what has happened is that there are now huge criminal elements that hide under the auspice of IPOB to create all manner of issues. But truly speaking, they are not agitators. They are criminals. So what I say to leaders, forget about this nomenclature. Deal with criminals of whatever form.
I think
there you have it. Criminality is bound in every country. Every region you go in that zoo called Nigeria, there are criminals there. Around the whole world, in America, Australia, Canada, even in Finland, there are criminals bound everywhere. There is no country that has been able to, get rid of criminality in their country. So it's for them to do what is right in terms to deal with criminality, but for them to turn around and paint a picture as if everything happening in the so-called Southeast, that Simon Ekpa is responsible, that's something that we ain't going to accept. That's the lie, and that's the argument they are making. But this gentleman here, Mr. Valentine, he's letting you to know that criminality is bound everywhere, around the whole world. No country, not even Finland, is spared or has been able to get rid of criminality. So yes, there is criminality in the southeast, but that has nothing to do with what we the Biafrans are doing. Let's continue. Listen.
Has even made that statement. He said, let's call a spade and not an agricultural instrument. Let's call criminals criminals.
Yes.
And deal with them as criminals.
Purely.
So why is that not happening? I'll ask you this. Because you said it's a question of leadership.
Yes.
So have the governors of the security of the Herod SE of the Southeast,
Listen.
have they shared their responsibilities even with the security votes?
The answer is yes and no.
Okay.
Again, you've raised another issue. You have the leaders, because we're talking particularly about the Southeast, even though you mentioned, of course, Nigeria in general. Have the leaders in the Southeast, do you think that they played the ostrich looking for the cause of the problem outside their shores?
Listen.
While the problem is within? Because I've seen so many leaders talk about, okay, I'm going to come to Nnamdi Kanu and all that. But don't you think they've played the ostrich, begging the issue, looking for, somebody said it's only the rat that is inside that tells the one outside that there's fish in the kitchen.
100%. If you actually dig further, if you read this report I'm talking about,
Listen.
it identified the real actors. You will see the one that are external influence. You also see the one internal influence. A lot of the things happening are actually being created and caused by also the people of Anambra State.
Listen.
We're not talking only about Anambra
Yes,
State.
I'm just using, the same way. If you go to Imo, you go to Ebonyi, you go
Abia,
to
yeah.
Abia, you see those cases because what you even find is that simple intelligence. I sat down with a top police officer recently, and I said to him, well, I see effort he's making, what is going on? And he was blaming it on the locals. Do you know something may happen today here at this port?
Listen.
They will pursue, give a chase, and then when they get there, ask the locals, where did they go to? Nobody would talk. And I said to him, do you know why that is happening? It's happening because some of them are under oath, which means nothing. It's just a matter of they're getting intimidated. And some of them don't trust you guys to be able to provide this information because they don't know who they're talking to. Maybe once the information gets back to these criminals, that is this guy, you create a problem for that whole family.
Listen.
And so, what do? You think differently. It's all imagination, creativity. Create a whistleblowing opportunity and an anonymous way of gathering this information so that people are protected when they give out this information because you are the chief security officer.
Officer in the state.
That's all.
Now, because what we discuss, we must not forget the fact that the purpose of the discussion anyway is to find solutions to these problems. I was discussing with a security expert, Kabiru Adamu, and he believes that a tripartite dialogue between the federal government, the state, and the leadership of the proscribed Biafran groups, especially Kanu, and this can iron out a political settlement to eliminate insecurity in the Southeast in its entirety. What do you make of this as a solution?
I agree with that submission. You know why? Don't give anybody any excuse anymore. If we solve this problem and Nnamdi Kanu is out, you now know that the rest of the people making the laws are criminals. So it's not a case of debating, are they agitators, are they criminals? So agitators, they have basically not much reason anymore. So everybody who causes any other mayhem is a criminal. They treat him as one. Secondly, we go beyond just governor and presidential, and let's also bring it regional. I like to see the governors of Southeast come together and throw away their egos, just come together, blend together, and solve this problem commonly. Because the idea of you chase them in Imo, they run to Anambra, you chase them in Anambra, run to Imo, doesn't help anybody. But if they are able to come together, you chase them concurrently, and they will have no place more.
Ebubago, what has he been able to do?
As far as I'm concerned, the answer is in the result. I don't celebrate effort. security has worsened in Anambra State and Southeast. Let's figure out how to get it solved. What we've done so far hasn't worked. The only thing I've seen is some states who have made some appreciable improvement. And what I keep mentioning these states so that let my governor go and copy and replicate what they're doing so that at least we can feel a little bit safe while hoping for other bigger strategies. And these things are things that can be deployed just within the next 2. It might actually be that, no, we don't want to be alone because there's a debate as to what side is better. But let me tell you what actually is going on. Sometimes you actually don't blame the agitator because there's enough to agitate in this country.
Listen.
I mean, what is even worse is that things are this bad and there's a conspiracy of silence.
Listen.
Among the elite and people like you, the journalists. Nothing. You say nothing, do nothing.
We're doing something. That's what we're doing.
They say nothing and do nothing. The zoo journalists. That's the problem. I don't blame them. I know they are not free in Nigeria. They don't have the freedom of speech. Even the journalists, they don't have the freedom to carry out their program the way they intended to. There is no more investigative journalism in Nigeria. If you try it, you are going to jail. If you try to carry out an investigative journalism, you are going to jail. You'll be locked up and the keys will be thrown away. So I understand to an extent. That's why I share empathy. I show empathy for the journalists in that zoo called Nigeria. They are not free. My only worry with them is they go with the script of the Nigerian zoo government. That's my problem. They go with the script. Whatever they are being told, they skip to the loo of the Nigerian military, of the Nigerian government. That's the problem. Let's continue because of time.
We're discussing
and
so you can't say we said nothing.
And then some of the former leaders, governors and co, because they all have EFCC files, nobody says nothing. That's the worst thing that can happen. That is
the worst thing that can happen to any nation. That even the governors, because they've got files in the EFCC, they are being blackmailed. Their hands are tied. Technically speaking, their hands are tied. Once they speak out, before you know it, they are being invited. The present and the past governors. This is the problem in Nigeria, which was why we said enough is enough. We Biafrans living in the Western world, we said enough is enough. We cannot be living a clean lifestyle, a healthy lifestyle in the Western world, and whenever we come back to our land, we are living like servitudes. That's not possible. Hence, we said enough is enough, and we had to redeclare our freedom because we cannot be living as beggars, as slaves in our own land. Let's not stop. That's all we are doing. Nigeria is being Islamized as we speak, but the politicians are saying nothing. If they speak, they are in trouble. As we speak, in the Yoruba land, the land of Oduduwa, Sharia is now becoming something that will be implemented very, very soon. And the Yorubas, they are trying to fight the good fight. They are trying their best to fight the good fight. Once there is Sharia law in Yoruba land, it means, technically speaking, the Yoruba land has been Islamized. The moment there is a Sharia court in Yoruba land, and it means Sharia law is thriving. And over time, because these guys, they go nowhere. They will remain in your land for the next 100 years. Over time, you will be Islamized. That's the way they roll. The same way they took Kwara State, Kogi State. They are coming for Oyo State to the Yorubas. The resource in Oyo State is too much. The gold found in Oyo State, it is too much. They are coming. They are coming. They are coming. Koiki Media, this must get to Chief Dr. Sunday Adeyemo, aka Sunday Igboho. They are coming. They will come with Sharia. Once they come with Sharia, they will now bring their headsmen into your farm. You've already signed an MOU in Oyo State that Mietiala can come with their cows and cattle. You have signed an MOU in Oyo State. for them to come in. So once they come in, they will come with their cattle. Before you know it, the headsmen will come with their guns and their cattle. They will be protecting the land while mining is taking place. That's the game. That's what they've come with to the Yorubas. They are coming. They are coming. They are coming. Sharia law is coming. Islamization is coming. We the Biafrans, we are their stumbling block. That is why they hate us with a passion. But they are coming. They are coming. They are coming. Let's continue.
Of criminality, everybody keeps quiet. So on that note, Nnamdi Kanu was speaking up. It's actually commendable someone was speaking up. Sometimes he goes overboard and some of us will cringe. No, you're going too far. But he wasn't, there's actually a good premise for people to agitate in this country. And guess what? It wasn't exclusive to Southeast alone. Almost every part of this country. Today, I don't see anybody agitating more than the northern part of Nigeria today.
Okay.
They are all agitating. But how do they do that? Some do that in the quietness of their home. And we've got to hold leadership accountable if we want a functional democracy. So, but how they managed the whole Nnamdi Kanu thing was and the same thing happened with Boko Haram, by the way. When these things happen, deal with these issues, engage, dialogue, sit down and, guy, what is going on? Why are you doing this? Okay, see what we're going to do. Don't worry. Give hope, inspire people.
Alexander Stubb, this was why I gave you an assignment. Do your research on what happened in 2012, the advent of IPOB. Do your research of what transpired between Buhari government and Nnamdi Kanu in 2015. Do your research of what happened in the home of Nnamdi Kanu in 2017. And also do your research on what happened in Kenya. When Nnamdi Kanu was on holiday in Kenya, he went to Kenya with a British passport. He was on holiday in Kenya. And the Nigerian government went to Kenya to kidnap him. That was the origin of the problem. Alexander Stubb, that was the origin of the problem. I gave you an assignment. Do your research. And once you get the answers, you will release that gentleman called Simon Ekpa in Finland. He's got no case to answer. Nigeria knows this. But unfortunately, those amongst him, those we call our own, the saboteurs amongst us, they have connived, they have colluded to give a Simon Ekpa a bad name. Alexander Stubb, Simon Ekpa is a good guy. He is the one protecting us from being Islamized. Do your research. And once you get your findings, you will appreciate Simon Ekpa the more. Do your research. I dare you to do your research. Let's continue.
I've just fizzled away. But no, it's a case of even when they go to court and you see that everything is now being manipulated, begin to see political dimensions to it. Even the Simon Ekpa, there was a lot of accusation that it was opposition, different other parts were funding him to keep doing what he's doing. We don't even know the truth anymore. But the truth of the matter is that I honestly believe in not digging too much as to the issues in the past. What do we do going forward? And this is where I come in. We need pragmatic leaders who will sit together and say, let's stop blaming this. Take ownership. Because when you hold yourself accountable, imagination things, and then in case of Anambra, I've said it, why can't we just come together as a people? Whether some of the of IPO, the church, the Igwes, the government people, the town unions, the traders, let's come together and have a proper dialogue. Where do we go from here?
Well, I appreciate that, my good brother Valentine. You've spoken well, but unfortunately, we have crossed the Rubicon. The days of dialoguing is gone. That zoo had the opportunity way back. Men of God came out and told them, dialogue now, dialogue now, dialogue now. I see a young puppy growing, dialogue now. But they said, no, they won't dialogue. Because they assumed because they've kidnapped Nnamdi Kanu, that was the end of Biafra. So the days of dialoguing is gone. We have crossed the Rubicon. There is no more going back. And there is no more turning back. We have passed that stage. we have now declared a nation. And before the eyes of Nigeria, they will see what will happen. When we start having all the accolades, when countries come around and they recognize us as a nation, then and only then, Nigeria will be forced to smell the coffee of reality. At this point, my people, I want you to see what is happening. I want you to see what is happening to the Christian soldiers. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. What you're about to listen to is the story of the Christian soldiers, the Biafran citizens who still believe in Nigeria, who joined the Nigerian military, the Yorubas who joined the Nigerian military. I want you to hear that story. When they were sent to go and die, they were sent to a war front without ammunitions. And when they fought for their rights, saying, no, if we should go into this battle, we need the proper gear. These men were condemned to death. Damn if you do, damn if you don't. Alexander, stop. I want you to come and listen to the story about Nigeria, how they treat the Christian soldiers in the Nigerian military. Because deep inside, they know that they hail from the eastern region, which is the Biafra. Listen to the story of the Biafran soldiers that foolishly are still part, or were still part, of the Nigerian military. Listen to how they treat us, even in the military. I know this will never happen in Finland in a million years, but listen to the way they treat those from the eastern region that foolishly joined the Nigerian military. And as we watch this video, any other Biafran who is still wearing the Nigerian military uniform, if you're wise, watch this video and learn what will happen to you when your time comes. You say you don't know, you go know. When time don't come, you go know. You say you don't know, you go know. Time don't come now, you go know. Let's watch this and learn from this story. Alexander, stop. Lend me your ears. Listen.
Soldiers faced an army court-martial and were sentenced to death for mutiny before it was commuted to 10 years imprisonment. However, 3 years after a Council of State pardon, the 70 soldiers are yet to receive their terminal benefits and discharge certificates from the army. In this special report, Arise correspondent Oyeteme George examines the issues and how the ex-soldiers are coping since their unceremonious exit from the army.
Listen.
From a distance, a lonely canoe and two figures paddle in the Fangbe River in Yenagoa Council area of Bayelsa State. The water is quiet, save for the meaningless chatter of happy children as the weary fishermen approach the shore. I meet Endurance Kulukulu at the waterfront of his community. After toiling all day, all he gets is this dangling fish, struggling for survival. The young man was a private awaiting promotion in the Nigerian army in 2014 when he and other soldiers faced a court-martial for refusing to fight terrorist organization Boko Haram in a special mission to recapture Dalua and Damboa in Borno State. Endurance Kulukulu is willing to share his experience with me and, of course, that painful disengagement from the Nigerian army.
Went to Damboa, Goza, Polka, Atagara, Gava 1, Gava 2, all those places we walk around. We went to Gamburugala, Meduguri, Marite, close to Shad. We have been dealing with them, not on the equipment that they did not give to us to go and fight. So what we use is only ELOS. What we need before is APC. I'm alive today, I'm even thanking God. We enter in an ambush We lost about 21 men. 2 by 19 is what we lost that day. So we now say they should give us this weapon to fight those deadly sects. They refuse to give us. So we say, except they give us that thing, we cannot go and commit suicide.
Hold it there. Except they give them the right weapon, they ain't ready to go and commit suicide. They knew what the enemies were using at the war front. The Nigerian military, they have the same armory, but they refused. They refused to give them the same firepower to match that of Boko Haram. And when these soldiers, they refused to go back into the war front, they were court-martialed and were supposed to be killed by firing squad. Alexander Stubb, this is the situation the so-called Biafrans, Christians that joins the Nigerian military. This only happens to them whenever they choose to fight for their right. Let's continue. Very, very sad one.
Nigeria is not being fair to us. I fought for this country in the Northeast there more than a year, and you discover that when we embarked on mission, we lost some competent men that are supposed to be the defender of this country because of inferior weapon. And we are still appealing to the government that without that weapon, this country cannot withstand the challenge that is ongoing. For how long that the military are there fighting in Maiduguri? If we are being given the appropriate weapon, fighting Boko Haram won't take us more than 6 months, because I know the training we had.
Do you hear that? Do you get that?
Sunday Godwin was a private at the time of the incident. Now a pastor, he lives in a remote part of one of the southwestern states of the country. The army authorities charged a total of 58 soldiers with mutiny and were sentenced to death by a court-martial in December 2014 for demanding weapons when the general officer commanding the 7th Division of the Nigerian Army visited a military camp in the war zone. 12 soldiers were earlier convicted and sentenced to death in September of the same month, raising the
Hold it there. These are all Biafrans you are seeing all across the eastern region. These men you are seeing being sentenced to death, they are Biafrans, the stubborn ones that chose to join the Nigerian military. Let that sink into your mind. Let that sink into your mind, body, and soul. That anywhere we find ourselves, we are faced with the same situation. Even when you join their military, you are still faced with death. A death penalty. For asking for what is right, what is just, and what is fair. The military steals all the money. They buy and sell the ammunitions and keep the money to themselves. And when you are fighting against Boko Haram, they refuse to give you the same firepower that matches that of Boko Haram. And when you complain, you are condemned to your death. Let that sink in. Alexander Stubb, this has been our story. That even when some of the coward ones run to the military of Nigeria, assuming that will solve the problems, the moment they claim they cross the line, they pay with their life. Let's continue.
To 70 on death row.
That's in 2014.
Take it back, listen.
The number to 70 on death row.
That's in 2014. December 17, we were given death penalty by firing squads. We were moved to Kirikiri prison.
Death penalty by firing squad for asking for what is right. They were condemned with death penalty by firing squad. Lord have mercy. Ah, God. Oh my God. Ah, God. Your enemy will be your enemy. If you like, pretend to be their friend. Pretend to join their military. Your enemies, they know you. And they will always be your enemy. They were condemned to death by firing squad. Biafran in the Nigerian military. Alexander Stubb, this has been our story. This has been what we go through every day in Nigeria. The hate they have for us is too much. That even when you join their so-called military, the moment they feel you have crossed the line, you and your colleagues will be court-martialed and sent to death. These ones, they are lucky. What about the other ones that couldn't make it? What about the other ones that didn't have the luxury to have their story heard by Femi Falana? This is what we go through every day in Nigeria. Alexander Stubb, this is what Simon Ekpa is trying to stop in Nigeria. Hence, we are saying enough is enough. It is time for us to go. We are tired of being killed. They treat us like animals. We are less than humans in Nigeria. This is why we want out. This is why we came to Finland to redeclare our freedom, because we have done all analysis. We have dot all our I's, crossed all our T's. All stones have been left unturned. All turns have been left stoned. We have done everything. We have done all the research. And the only answer, the only solution for the Biafran people is to let go Nigeria. That was the only solution. We have tried all analysis. We have spoken to all experts. We've looked inwards. We've looked outwards. The only solution is to divorce ourselves from Nigeria. Hence, we came to Finland on the 29th of November to redeclare Biafra. Alexander Stubb, your same country, Finland, you did it when Russia was humiliating the people of Finland. You rose up as men and fought for your freedom. Not only that, today, you are one of the advocates speaking on behalf of Ukraine. You are speaking for the freedom, the liberation of Ukraine. You are speaking to NATO to make sure Ukraine is well armed to match the firepowers of Russia. And let's now stop. The same freedom you want for Ukraine is the same freedom.
Oh my God, I feel like crying. I am dying within. Biafrans have suffered with no one to stand for them. Anyone who stands turns to national enemy. The worst part of it is that even those you are standing for will be stabbing you at the back. And that is the problem of the Igbos. Backstabbing their brothers. Sabotaging the efforts. Leaking secrets. Taking enemy to their camps. Selling out lies to the enemies. Collecting bribes and money. Blood money. Against their own people. Where is our Prime Minister, I ask? Alexander Stubb, President of Finland. Where is our son? Mazi Simon Ekpa, who married your daughter of your soil from Finland there. Where is your in-law? I ask. What has Nigerian government given that will warrant you to seal the mouth of the Speaker of Biafrans? We'll get back to that. Well, this is our story. We will keep pushing. We'll keep pushing until the only one that will give justice will unturn situation, and that is God. He is the only one that can give justice. We can unannounce it. Thank you everyone for listening to this good channel. God bless you all.